Hey, this is Joe from SoFi, and in this video, we're going to import users into WordPress from a CSV. So the first step is to go down here to WPL import and then select new import. And then we have three options. We can select an existing file that we've already uploaded. We can choose to download a file where we would input the URL from something like Google Drive or Dropbox or FTP or something like that. Or in this case, we're going to upload a file from my computer. And you can see here, I have this CSV. And it has a bunch of user data in it. We have their first name, last name, email address, some billing and shipping information, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to select that and upload that into WPL import. And then we have two options. We can import data from this file into existing items if we were going to try and match this to WordPress users that were already on our site, or in this case, new items, because we're going to be importing new users. So we'll click here and then scroll down to users. And that's going to create a new user for every record in my data file, every row in my CSV. All right, so WPL import has processed the file and it's detected 5,754 rows. And each row, as you can see down here, is one of my users. And these are the columns along the top of the CSV. And this would be one user record that gets imported. And then down here, we have our filtering options. Here, what we can do is we can choose to filter data by some data element in my file. So in this case, I want to import people who are from California. So we'll go ahead and type in CA down there. And then also from people that are in New York, billing state equal to New York. We're going to add that rule. Now, the way this filter is set up right now, it's going to show me, it's going to import people that have a billing state of California and New York, but I want it to be or. So we'll select or over there, and that's going to give me people from California or New York. And we're going to apply filters to XPath. And that's our XPath statement up here. That's going to determine what gets imported from our file. If you know what XPath is, that's great. You can put anything you want in here and write a custom XPath expression. And if you don't know what XPath is, doesn't matter. You don't need to know what XPath is or how to use it because WPL import is going to take care of it for you. So you can see here, we have 959 users that are going to get imported and they all have a billing state of California or New York. Looks good to me. And now we'll continue to step 3. All right. So over here on the right, we have our available data to import from our import file. You can see that's all of our customer data for the first record, for the second, third, etc. Then over here on the left, we have our user info, first name, last name, username, etc., etc. Our user info, a little more detailed information about the user account, and then our custom fields. So some plugins are going to add data as a custom field. You can click to see detected fields, and that's going to pull up every single weird piece of custom data that is on your site. Depending on what plugins you have, there's going to be more or less here. And if you want to import to these, all you have to do is find the right one, figure out what data that is needed for that custom field, and drag it over. In this case, we're not going to really do that. What we're going to use is advanced custom fields, and it's pretty nice. So what we did is we added some member data, and we want to get in the address and the phone number. So let's start up here at the top. So first, I'm going to drag in my first name and my last name, and the username, and the email address, and the password. And what we're going to do is leave the password blank and let WordPress assign a random password to these users. And then we can just email all the users and tell them to log in and create a new password for their account. If we had our password data in our import file and it was hashed, the way WordPress stores those right here, what we would do is we'd drag it over, put it in there and select this is a hashed password from another WordPress site. And then their passwords are just going to work automatically. In this case, we're importing from somewhere else, not from WordPress. So we don't have the password data. Now, if you're interested in migrating your WordPress users from another WordPress site, it's a little bit easier of a process. Check the video description below. We have a link to a video for that. So I'm going to uncheck this. And again, we're just going to leave that blank. And now we'll get into other user info. So this is the user role, and these people are going to have a role of member, right? Because these are going to be members I'm importing to my site, members from California and New York. So we'll give them a user role of member. This can be subscriber, customer, something like that. If you are importing WooCommerce customers, we have a separate video for that. If you check the video description below, you can check out our video on importing WooCommerce customers or migrating them. But in this case, we're doing members. For nickname, I'm going to leave nickname, display name, and all this stuff blank. We'll drag in registered date just because I have it, but the rest of this will just be set automatically by WordPress during the import process. So we'll close this tab over here, and now we'll go down to our address data in the advanced custom fields section. So you can see here, all of this data is spread out into a bunch of different fields, right? We have street, city, state, and zip, but I only have one address field. So what I'm going to do is drag all of them in together. So I'll drag in billing street, give that a space, then city. And I want to have a comma in between these, like that, and state, comma, and a space. And then we'll do a comma and space, and we'll drag in our zip code. So we have street, city, state, zip. Perfect. And then we have our phone number. Now the phone number, it doesn't have the country code. And I want to get the country code in there. So I'm just going to put a +1 and a space like that. And that'll get this billing phone formatted nice and pretty for me. Now, again, if you know XPath, you might recognize these as little XPath statements in here. So again, you can go in and you can customize this and have it say whatever you need to say. If you don't know XPath, again, don't worry about it. WPL import's going to take care of all that for you. And finally, down here, we have our custom function editor, where you can write custom PHP functions and pass your data through it. For example, let's say I wanted to have the billing street address up here, and then I wanted to have a Google Maps link or something like that. So what I could do is I could write some PHP code down here, pass this information into my custom function, and have it return the Google Maps URL after calling the Google Maps API. You can also just do simple stuff like process some text and have it be uppercase or lowercase. You can do math. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff. If you check our site, we have a bunch of code snippets with some pre-written code examples for you to kind of get you started. And if you don't know PHP, don't worry about it. You don't need to know anything about that. So that is our import all configured. Now we're just going to continue to step 4. Now up here, we have our unique identifier. And what this does is it lets WPL import figure out, okay, which of these users are unique from each other, right? Like what field in here says these are 2 unique records. For example, billing state, probably pretty bad. Email address, probably a pretty good field, right? Because if 2 people have the same email address, they're the same user. You can also let WPL import auto-detect it. And in this case, it's picked username, which is probably pretty smart. 2 people with the same username, probably the same user. So we'll just leave that there. Down here, we're telling WPL import what to do when it's detected new or changed data when we run the import again for a second time. So if, for example, I ran this import again with a new import file and I changed some of this information in here, what do I want to do? Do I want to create new users from people that I've added to this file? For example, if this was hosted on Dropbox and this file is changing all the time, do I want to delete users that have been removed from the file? And then, I can choose here. I can say, okay, I only want to update their login name or the URL, and I want to leave everything else the same. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave it with the default settings. We're going to leave this checked. Email notifications for imported users. Then that way, these folks are not going to be getting welcome notices from WordPress as they get imported. Now you need to be a little bit careful with this setting, especially if you want to make sure that people aren't going to be emailed. There are some email plugins for WordPress that kind of make the email process a little bit easier, and they prevent us from actually blocking these notifications from getting sent out. So it might be a good idea to run a test first and just make sure the email notifications are actually going to be blocked before you run an import, for example, with 959 users, and then you're accidentally sending them welcome notices, every time you run the import. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Down here, we have some scheduling options where we can choose to run this import on the schedule, for example, every Monday or once a month or something like that. Again, if this file was hosted on Dropbox, it might be changing all the time. We can keep our WordPress users up to date. And then these settings, we might want to take a little bit of a closer look at them. In this case, again, we're just running this import once. And then we have some advanced settings if you want to dig a little deeper into how the import process is going to run. We're just going to leave all this with the defaults and then continue. And that's it. So we're just going to double check all this here, make sure everything looks good, and then confirm and run the import. Now this is going to take a few minutes. We will let it run and come back when it's finished. All right, import is complete. That didn't take too long. So let's go over here to our users and check them out. Looks good. We have 960 users. That's 959 that were imported, and then my one administrator account. So let's open one up and see how it looks. So there's their username, first name, last name, nickname, which we didn't actually import, but which was set automatically by WordPress, their email address, scrolling down. And here is our member data from ACF, the Advanced Custom Fields plugin. See their address looks nice. And we have our country code in front of their phone number. And down here, you have capabilities member. So what we did is we added that user role for them, and that's right there. So that is how you import users from CSV into WordPress using WPL import. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.